right, I will hereby call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Sunderland Selectboard. The time is 6:30 p.m. on the nose. All right, so I'm actually gonna, we'll start with approving the minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes this time. Are both of them ready for us?
I'm sorry, we don't have any.
You don't have any, so we're going to
I
test
was
that.
saying that 22nd will be available next week.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Sorry.
That's
But I
me
said
skipping
in-
too fast.
yeah.
No, you're good, that was me. So going to new business, we're gonna actually just swap the first and second items because we have the gentleman here today, rather than making him sit here and wait. We're gonna get right to you.
Sure.
So that item is the Big River Chestnut Fall event, asking for an entertainment license. So we got your packet of information, which is very helpful, so thank you very much for that.
Great.
Does the board have any questions on this, or?
No, just explain, tell us about the event at all, or anything?
Sure, yeah, we have a chestnut farm just down the road on Quaking, the south. And yeah, so this is the harvest season, so we do kind of a little celebration around chestnuts, but also other nut trees and perennial crops. And so we'll have some vendors selling things related to nut trees and chestnuts and hard chestnuts and roasting and fresh chestnuts, and there'll be a little bit of music. There's a couple of nurseries coming selling plants. It's pretty small, but I mean there'll be, we think, 200 or 300 people.
So
just
you've
one
done this
day.
in the past?
Yep, and it's 10 to 4, so just the day, and
Anything new this year compared to other years?
well, there is going to be an actual band, a small group that's actually a real band playing for a couple hours, and there's some new vendors, a bunch of different food people, like there's a honey company, and then there's the mycoterra, the mushrooms, and yeah, we get different bakers who are baking different kind of related products and as demos and such. So yeah, so we have parking. You all probably know John, who's across the street from
Josh
us.
River Street.
Yeah, and so we're using his field for parking, and so I feel better about that. Just try to keep everybody off the road, really. That's the main thing.
Wonderful. Yeah.
No?
Well, this is a pretty easy one, so I would entertain a motion at this time to approve the one-day entertainment license.
I motion we approve the one-day entertainment license for the Big River Chestnut Fall event.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0.
And that's this Saturday,
That's this Saturday.
so in case anyone's watching or watching it later, Route 47.
Come on down.
Absolutely.
That's right.
The super crowd.
All right, well, good luck.
Super.
Hopefully
Okay.
a great turnout this year. The
Yeah.
weather's supposed to be wonderful. So
Supposed to be good, yeah. All right, well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming in.
Yep.
All right, so next up on our new business is a discussion about the Bub's Barbecue liquor license that was suspended at our last meeting. So since then, Bubs has come in and provided us with a copy of his new insurance policy, which does include liquor liability and also the general liability insurance that he was also missing previous to rectifying that.
And the required amounts of coverage, he even went above a couple of them.
Okay. Cool. Wonderful. So the discussion is about what to do about his liquor license currently. From my perspective, the board has a number of options, ranging from reinstating it now to having the period of time where it's revoked extends to some arbitrary length of time as a punitive measure to encourage people not to, try to operate without liability insurance, to not returning it all this year and making him sign up for a new one next year and go through the process again and potentially have extra checks and balances due to the history. So it kind of comes down to us to decide what we want to do about that. Any opinions from either of you before I start talking?
So I mean, again, I think we have a couple options. We can do like a 1 week suspension for every month he was without insurance. We can, I'm gonna struggle with just flat out returning it effective immediately because there was a significant amount of time with no insurance. And, we found out about it by accident. It wasn't,
It could have been 2 years, 3 years before we found out, as opposed to 9
well,
months.
no, because every year they have to renew it, right? They have to provide
true.
us information, but.
Yeah.
But he could have also done what he did this time, which was get it, show us proof, and then default on it.
But I think this time we're on calling, we know who the insurance carriers are, but it's not our job to call.
Correct. And
And the insurance company should notify the town whenever there's a lapse in coverage.
Would that be more likely with this one, or was the prior one a local one with this one?
I can't tell you who the prior one was. I just know it was about $4,000, so it was more expensive than the current policy.
So here's my thinking on it. Number one, what he did was rectify going forward, but not bring us proof that he was in compliance all along. If he had come in and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had paperwork all along, but I just couldn't find it. My filing system is whatever. Here it is," that's a, exoneration, and that would be, "Oh, great, wonderful, thank you for bringing that information. Here's your license back," because you were in compliance. You just had to go through some process to drag it out. Still don't love that it would have taken us getting to that point to do so, but that would be what it is. In this case, that's not the case. What happened was after the real effect of us taking it away went into effect, he then got the insurance to get his license back. So I do kind of agree that there should be some kind of consequence for having gone 9 months without that policy, other than just, oh, well, 2 weeks go by, he gets his license back, everything's fine and dandy, because what's preventing him and other business owners from choosing that as a, well, I saved $4,000 and all I gotta do is go 2 weeks without my liquor license, but I get it back, everything's fine and dandy. So I do feel like there needs to be some kind of punitive measure here to reinforce the reason that one would follow the law. Whether that's something like what Crystal just mentioned, a week for every month that he was in compliance, or we go time served plus 2 more weeks, or whatever we decide to do. I do feel like there needs to be some kind of financial penalty that he feels.
Does this policy run out at the end of the year?
I think it's
It's 12 months. It goes through September
September.
19th of next year.
Oh, so he's got it for,
He got a full year. Yeah. His other policy, I believe, the one that's the workman's
Workman's
comp,
comp.
that is January to January. So that one would need to be up, but that's not pursuant to the liquor license. That's
okay.
But it would be pursuant to the common vic license, but it's in good order,
yeah.
and that's been verified.
So that's a whole other ball of wax. But this one is good for a year.
Okay.
I would like the town, even though it's not necessarily a responsibility, to check in with the insurance company in like a month to make sure that nothing has changed since then. Because at that point, money has already changed hands, and their bank account, like nothing can be clawed back at that point or whatever.
I'm curious what larger places do, because I'm sure it's not unheard of event. Somebody would do this and they can, there's nobody checking, and they just start at one, maybe they,
Yeah.
But I'm just curious to know what other places do, larger. I mean, not that we have staff that be doing it, but it really should be up in the owner to make it all good and make sure we get what we need when we need it.
I mean, really, like, and this is sort of a side point, but I have questions of the initial insurance company of why they didn't notify us immediately back in January.
Right.
That seems like a responsibility of theirs that they shirked. I won't go into more detail or whatever because I don't have the details, but just that is something I'm not super thrilled with. I would be much happier if they had done their due diligence to telling us.
Yeah.
That being said, I believe this insurance policy is valid currently, and as long as we don't get notice of that in the future, we can operate under the assumption that it is a good policy and it will be maintained for the foreseeable future and whatnot. Which brings back to the question of what do we do in terms of returning his license. From my perspective, as I said, I would like to see a little bit more of a punishment for the initial thing, but I also feel it's important that he has to jump through hoops in order to renew his liquor license in coming years because of the mark on the record, and that we're going to be a little bit more careful in looking at making a little bit more oversight on our side also.
I wonder if we get every 90 days get something written from his agent or whoever to tell us if the thing's still valid.
We could just ask him to send a certificate of insurance.
So he can request a new
Right, but he could
certificate
just
with a new
keep
date.
sending the same one,
Yeah,
right?
but I'm saying he needs something that's
No,
with a
you'd have to
date.
renew, it'd have to be dated by the insurance company
Yeah.
of that
That's
date.
still valid.
Monthly, to prove that it was, that's how you prove it's valid.
Yeah, which
But-
that's the kind of measure that I'm interested
Yeah.
in doing, is having something that in place where it can't be 9 months. The most it can be is a month or 2 months or something like that before we find out.
60 days, yeah, 60 days, 90 days, yeah.
Maybe monthly, ask, inquire.
We could do
But,
that. Back off.
we could, I think you can require that. I just want to be clear in conversation with the lawyer, because we do not have any additional bylaws about enforcement of the liquor license and the common vic license. The lawyer just want to make sure that I advise you, we would be open to a lawsuit in this situation just because he has provided the required information. Select Board has total discretion of what you want to do and making these choices like you're outlining, you have total discretion. But he also advised me he thinks if the person were to sue me, he probably is.
So just to clarify, you're saying that because we don't have additional bylaws outlining everything, anyone who walks in here with liquor liability insurance and an application has to be approved?
No, if they already have it, it has to be returned. I'm not talking about the next.
So then why did we even have this discussion
But
2 meetings ago?
Because you have the discretion, and you do have the right to do the things you're saying.
Okay.
It's just a question of whether he would then be able to challenge that in court. And,
Right.
And we have to do
Right.
that.
But that doesn't take away your authority.
Authority to do it.
Gotcha. So I guess a supplementary question which I'm going to ask now, because it will help advise, is what would we have to do in order to come up with some better bylaws around this to give better enforcement? Is that something that has to go through town meeting,
No,
or that's something we can just decide?
yes, it has to go, I will be bringing you in another couple weeks,
Mhm.
some revised policies, and it's not a bylaw, I believe it's only policies,
Okay.
that I'm getting templates of now from our attorney, so that we can, it just keeps it cleaner that if any law is being violated, and it's not the liquor liability, it still would hold him, you still can hold them accountable if they're violating any other thing, like either the insurance, or if they're having the Board of Health show up and close them frequently, or any other issues, then it will give you more teeth to support your making sure responsible actions are taken by the people with liquor licenses. So that we need to get done as soon as possible before we get into December, and you're renewing policies. And then if there's any policies under the new any liquor licenses under the new policy, you'd have more teeth.
Okay.
There's no penalty that would come from the state related to this at all. It's only on us.
The Select Board is the one who sent the letter to the state, so
Yeah.
they are aware of the action.
But they have no prescription for this type of situation that they would enforce. It's all us.
Yes. Yeah, I think they're more at, when people are drinking underage, then they really focus on enforcement. But this is an odd one, the insurance. It's not. common that this happens.
So, you know what I'm saying? I guess the question is, if we were to, let's say, impose an additional 2-week suspension, what would be the motivation to sue at that point? You wouldn't even get in front of the court before it was returned to you.
Lost revenue.
You'd be suing to get it back. And yes, you could sue for lost revenue, but the amount of money you would spend suing for lost revenue over 2 weeks of liquor revenue is going to be a drop in the bucket compared to what it's going to cost to bring that lawsuit forward. That's sort of that's my thinking there. I mean, I'm not saying I want to put us in a position to open ourselves up to liability. In fact, if anything, I'm always the one to be like, where's our liability here and how can we minimize it?
I mean, can he just send a letter and get a hearing? Is it, I don't know, what's the process? Do you have any idea? You don't. It's okay. It's okay.
He has, one of the things we told him when he gave me the liquor license, he has the right to appeal your decision in 5 days. But that's, I believe that's if you revoke it. I think any decision, he has the right to appeal in 5 days. And he was told that when you guys made the last decision to revoke it.
Okay.
So I think the process would be,
So,
he would have 5 days to complain that it's not being, the suspension is being continued.
Okay.
So
What
he
day
can
did he
appeal.
renew the policy?
I think it was like the day after 22nd, it was like 9/22. You met last time, yeah, it was the same day we met last time.
so it's, he's been out 2 weeks, so he's been out of it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't shut down till Wednesday.
So you
Not
went,
there
you
with
went
the
in and
letter.
took the
So it's a little less. Weeks, days. That was the 24th.
So no.
I mean, we could give him another 2 weeks, give him another 7 days, and yeah, I mean, there should be some way to penalize him, but only because he came in and found out about it. We had to take it away from the insurance. It made total sense. But for doing that,
Yeah.
you said there should be something. I mean, you shouldn't
Yeah.
just be able to do that and then
And,
just
and
pay
I'd
it
like
back.
to put maybe like a tangible number around it, it's got, you know, so we could do that, he's already been without it for,
2 weeks.
yeah, but if we said something like 4 day suspension for every month without it, you know what I mean, because then it's associated to the length of time that this
Yeah.
didn't exist. You know, if, you know, again, maybe a week for every month is obviously too much. You know, because now we're looking at 9 weeks, so
Yeah.
greater than 2 months. But, you know, I'd like to see something,
A day a month. I mean, it sounds small when you say it that way.
right, because, right, and that's why I was thinking, you know, 3 days per month, 4 days per month, but, you know, I just like it to be tied to the amount of time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
And that would also be something we'd be able to then have use as a measuring stick if this were happening to somebody else. Let's say it happened to somebody else and it's 3 months, then we have a prescriptive, okay, well, so we get a third of what we gave to Bubs because it's that much less time. So I kind of agree that there being a, you know, X amount of days per month.
Yeah.
What if it was 2, that's 18 days, so you'd still have like 6 more days after
Another week.
today.
I mean,
Is that too
probably,
little?
if it's a struggling business owner too,
I know.
I have some sympathy there, so I don't want
Correct.
to make it worse.
No, I don't
know
wanna
what he
make
had to
it
do
worse
to-
either,
to
I just
re-
don't
to re-up
want.
this. But I don't want to be like, we're just gonna let you do what you want to do.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of like it somewhat tied to the amount
Yeah.
of time without it.
I could, well, the two was,
18 days.
it's not a lot.
Three would be 27. Okay,
Which
three
would
would be
be
27.
2 more week penalty.
And we are, so, okay, if you go with 27 days, that's 4 weeks. That's the 2 weeks he's done, and that's 2 more weeks until our next meeting. That's right on the nose of our next meeting, so we can come in our next meeting and vote to return it at that point. Or maybe we can also vote tonight to return it, you know, in 14 days or whatever. But that would be kind of that was sort of what was in my head when I was thinking about this, is another 2 weeks. So we could do 3 days per month.
Two.
So three days per month,
Three,
27.
27,
yeah.
and that'll take you to,
That would take us, you know, if we start counting on the 24th, that would take us to the 28th, or sorry, the 21st.
21st.
Yeah, so that would be, or we could call the 20th, because, you know, close enough. So that I would be amenable to voting that direction. You guys feel comfortable with doing that?
I think so.
I know, it's tough because he is still able to keep his business open.
Yeah,
He is still able to serve food.
yeah.
You know, it's not a total shutdown. It's just you can't sell alcohol.
But I have no sense if that's 50% or 20, I have no idea.
It's, that's part of the problem in my head is that, so one of the things I want to make sure is that the punishment is harsh enough that he doesn't go, oh, well, you know, it only cost me $200 for the sales. I saved $4,000 this year on insurance by not getting it. Maybe I'll do that again in the future if there's no consequence. That, again, that's where I'm coming from with all this,
That's
is
true.
wanting there to be a punitive aspect of this that makes him and other people, not just about him, it's about other business owners looking at this as a use case,
Yeah.
not making them want to do that. So I don't know how much money he's lost in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But is it the $4,000 he saved this year or the $3,000 he saved this year on insurance? I don't know. I just, you know.
Yeah, and we can talk about other things we can do going forward when you come up with some ideas. It would be good to get something every 60 days from anybody, or 90 days. Something that just confirms it it's continuing.
Yeah, but someone who's never had a problem, they've been in business for 25 years.
No, maybe as a condition as part of this government. You know, you get it every 30 days until, you know, some period of time. You
So for a brand new liquor license,
yeah,
you're
maybe a
talking-
brand new one, maybe
or
if somebody's got in
after-
trouble.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so we can look at policies
Yeah.
regarding that. So we'll be returning it on the 21st. Would be the,
20th or 21st, yep. I mean, we revoked it on the 22nd, so if we returned it on the 20th, that would be 28 days from when
Well-
we revoked it, but we didn't actually go physically pick it up until the 24th, so we could
Yeah.
also go to the 21st. So 20th, 21st, you know, I guess it would depend on, are we planning
well,
on,
you can't vote until the 20th.
so that's my question is,
Oh, you
are we
can vote
voting, we can vote
tonight.
tonight to just have it go into effect whenever?
Yeah.
Yes, no, you
Um,
can vote tonight, that's the
and-
best
and-
thing to do.
Yeah, so I guess it doesn't matter 20th, 21st.
What day is it?
I would say
What day of
probably-
the week is it?
Honestly, I would
Monday.
throw the world's tiniest bone and go on the 20th just so that he can have it be for the beginning of that week, like, you know,
It's
starts
not
up on.
even open till Wednesday.
Yeah, so it's,
Oh, okay, then it
Doesn't
doesn't,
really
then it doesn't matter. So let's just call it the 20th.
okay.
All right, so at this time, I would entertain a motion for the select board to decide to continue the suspension of the Bub's Barbecue liquor license through the 20th of October.
I motion we continue suspension of the Bub's barbecue liquor license, returning it on October 20th.
second.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Thank you very much. Just a quick sort of logistical question. Does he then have to come to the town office to pick up the liquor license at that point? Are we returning him the same copy he had before? Are we filling out a new one?
I was gonna return the same one.
Okay.
Because that's his,
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. I just wanted
Yeah.
to know so we know we have to come in and sign stuff. And is that something that you would bring to him or he could bring to us?
You should come
For
for
us. I mean, I guess
I can track him down, get his personal number and ask him to come pick it up.
Okay.
But is there any, yeah,
I guess my question on that is, when we do all our liquor licenses for the new year, people come in here to get them, right?
yes.
So then I don't see why we would do it any differently. If he, once he's
Right.
able to get it back, he can come in and collect it.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. that takes care of that one. Thank you, everybody. That was one of our harder things to work our way through. All right, next up is South County Senior Center update.
Anyone want to do this? Just what can we say?
We had,
Executive session.
Dan met with the Boo and had an executive session. We can say who was in it.
You know, okay, I guess so, yeah.
And Craig Warner was at
Mm-hmm.
Delta Sand and Gravel, was represented at the meeting. And there will be another executive session in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And they're working to figure out, I can't say it. What can I say?
We will leave it at that. I
Yeah.
love,
Okay.
I love the surprise. It's Christmas. I know there's presents in the
They're
tree. I don't know what's in them
working
yet.
on-
We'll
they're
find out
working
soon.
on it.
No, it's great to
Working,
hear.
working,
You guys
working
wouldn't be
on
having executive sessions if there wasn't wonderful things happening. So I'm glad to hear that it's happening. And we will find out all about it once it's public knowledge and we can do so. Was there anything else you guys want to go over on that, or just sort of
I don't think so.
news now?
I don't think so.
I think we'll step on something.
Yeah, so
We'll
we'll
say
just-
the wrong thing.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Unless
so,
you have a question, we can.
no, so, my understanding, is that South Deerfield has already scheduled a special town meeting. Whately has already scheduled a
Yes,
special
they just
town
did.
meeting.
And we have to.
So,
Talk to your select board.
Yeah.
and so I think we need to
Schedule a
Yeah.
special town meeting.
schedule a special town meeting, because we always have the ability to cancel it, but
Yeah.
once we start getting this time of year,
We gotta pick a date.
you know, we get, November is between Thanksgiving and Veterans Day and holidays and,
When are Deerfield and Whitley's?
You know, have dates up.
I think October 29th is Deerfield, and Whately, I think is something like November 9th, or November, I'm not remembering there.
yeah, they are coming up relatively,
Quickly.
yeah, you know, in the grand scheme of life.
So I would be more in the camp of the first week of November than the last week of October, just to give ourselves a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Since we are kind of a little behind the ball on that. But
Would you consider moving it to like the second week of November?
yeah, but that's fine also. I just mean,
Well,
I would rather
maybe, yeah.
go later than earlier, as long as we're not going too late, obviously. So
In
you,
the first week, I apologize, I don't have information about my schedule, and so I
Yeah,
apologize
that is
for
fine.
not bringing it up.
Ninth is
so if we're looking at the week of the 10th then?
Yeah.
November 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th.
I mean, we don't have to do it on a Friday night, correct?
Right.
No, we don't have to necessarily.
So what are the rules, like when you have, is it quorum and all that, how does that work?
Or, yes, there's separate quorum, I'll have to get the quorum number.
So
for the special.
we could be looking at November 14th potentially, that's a Friday, or.
Well, we have to find availability at the school, right?
So
I mean,
now
okay,
I need,
we could potentially also do it in the library. My suspicion would be a special town meeting's attendance might not be as great, but yeah, let's talk to Ben and find out what the availability of the school is.
do we do a save the date tonight and then work on, do we do the vote next time or do we want to vote?
Well, I think we need to just even know what's available, right?
So let's do this. Let's set next time we meet, which is going to be the 20th, as our, we have to have a decision on that day.
Okay.
date.
Well, and then we need, how many days' notice?
2 weeks.
So
14, I
the
think.
first,
So we'd have
we would be the third, which is about
We'd
as
have
early as we're
three.
looking at anyways. If we go into the 10th, we have 3 weeks from there.
Right, and so we're looking at, this is a holiday, the 11th.
So that adds a day.
But if we're voting on the 20th,
The 20th be the 20th.
No, what I'm saying is, that's just one day already out of that week we can't
Yeah.
do, that's a holiday.
okay,
What day is it?
The 11th is
11th.
Veterans Day?
Yeah,
So we wanna
what day
do
of
it.
the week, Thursday?
No, that's a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So I guess the question is, would we want to do it before November 3rd? Because if we don't want to do it before November 3rd, approving it on the 20th gives us 2 weeks to the 3rd, and so any day after that would be fine as long as we're approving it on the 20th.
think that's.
November 3rd's election day? No, it's, the 4th is election
Fourth is
day?
Fourth election day, yeah.
It's probably better not to do
Yeah,
the
that,
same week.
I
as
wouldn't want to do it, I'm just saying that we get in to the very beginning of the time period we're looking at if we do it on the 20th. We're not worried about limiting the number of days we have available, because I don't think we're talking about trying to do it in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I would just see what the school has for availability the week of the
Okay.
10th.
Yeah, if we get in there on the 14th.
Would we want to do it on a Saturday potentially? Because then there's a lot more of a chance that there's not going to be anything at the school that day or any kind of overlap with the school that day, but also
Basketball.
Yeah,
I was
just-
say, when does
Yeah,
basketball and all
basketball,
that
that's right.
stuff
We want to
start?
do it, well, they don't play Friday
There
night.
could be soccer still.
So I think what I'm hearing is we can't make a decision until we hear back from the school about availability, period. So let's get that information. We can discuss, because this is a scheduling thing, we can discuss that via email. And then once we get to a point where we're like, yep, this is good, then on the 20th, we will be able to walk in with the potential dates already lined up and ready to go. So let's do our work in the next 2 weeks. On the 20th, we'll make our decision. And by then, we will know what the school's availability is. And also potentially have a little bit more information from from that process also. Just to help us.
Yeah,
look at it.
that makes sense.
Outside of the senior center, are there any other issues that you see putting on the
So,
agenda?
I suspect on the agenda will be something from South County EMS. also,
Regarding the ambulance?
regarding the purchase of an ambulance.
Okay, and I have he gave me a document with that about the ambulance.
Yeah, we have a meeting tomorrow night, so you've probably seen more than I have.
Well, you're welcome to see. He probably has changed it all by now.
Okay. So, action on the 20th.
Other than,
And I know we had some issues a couple months and a half, 2 months, maybe 3 months ago, where there are a handful of accounts in town were empty or needed additional funds, and we moved some money
Right.
around. Is that anything we need to do with a special town meeting, or has that already been settled to the
let
point where
me
we'll
check with the accountant.
just because if not,
Yeah.
great opportunity for us to be able to potentially
Yes.
move some money around if we need to. On that same note, we had discussed before the meeting very briefly potentially putting a transfer into the town administrator line item to cover what's the word for labor costs, potential labor costs this fall. We can discuss that more later, but I'd like to make sure that's on there also.
Yeah.
Because we can always not do anything about it if we find the money between now and then.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Do you guys have anything else you think we need on there?
The only thing I've got, we're talking about is on the Mass Trails match, we are coming up a little bit short. We tried to get all the hours we could, we didn't get as many as we hoped. I think it's around, we've got a shortage. So then I was gonna talk to you for, but that's fine, we'll talk about it now. What I wanted to do was reach back to them and see if we could throw out a net again and try to make sure that we've got all the hours that we can, that everybody spend any time on review, and see if we can get one last crack at it, and see if we can get that number down.
I think we could ask CPC for additional.
So
funds.
that's what we're gonna do.
If we need to, the way, yeah, there's confusion on the way the original grant was written that we're trying
So
to
it's,
sort out, but it's, at this point, it's not
And if we were
sorted.
to go to see to the conservation folks, we would need to do that at a town meeting then. Or
Yeah.
well, yeah, well, the only thing,
Yeah.
I don't know how it all works. If there's a way to go back to the Community Preservation Act and see if we can get, but I don't know how that works if it's in this fiscal year going, I don't know how that can really work, how we do that. So I was gonna talk to you about that.
No,
To
it's possible.
see what happens.
Yeah.
If say we send out another note, they allow us and we get 22 more hours, we still may be short. I'm probably sure we might be short. We probably will be short unless we can really, I think we need a fair amount of hours to.
Well, she was helpful on the hours. I think it's the original way they put the numbers
Yeah,
together.
so we'll have more to report on in 2 weeks.
Okay, great.
That's one thing,
Yeah.
that's the only thing in my head that's a little short, that we've got to figure out a way to make it square.
Okay. Probably a good idea to give the CPA.
Yeah.
I did
Megan.
mention it to Jen. but-
You did, okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that they get
Did
something
you
out.
talk to Megan?
No, I haven't.
I'll
I just,
call Megan.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, if you can just make sure that, I don't want to have anything last minute and have them
Yeah.
be surprised by it. And
Yeah.
also give them plenty of time to mull it over and whatnot.
Yep,
between
yep,
now and-
yep.
Because they'll have to have a meeting. vote.
Of course, of course.
Okay. But
Well,
yeah, I
that'll
think,
be exciting to have a special town. The
I've never
Shutesbury
been
one
one.
had 18 articles or something.
wow,
Special town meeting last week.
wow. Hopefully ours won't be quite that robust, but we'll see. Any other discussion on the town meeting before we move on from that? Alrighty. Next up is the review of the FCAT contract, which I see you gave us a copy of. Thank you very much for that.
So the situation I wanted to explain with this is, I've been talking with Deerfield about, because he had some criticisms about the contract that he was talking next when it comes up in FYE 27, that they had been thinking of some changes. So I went to find ours, and the most recent one I found ended in 2022. So this document, I've been advised to date it, the original date for this will be the 6th of October when it's voted. And I think it's just important to get it back in place. We've been following it, and it might be somewhere that I haven't put my hand on it. I haven't gone back to read all the select board minutes. But given the fact that was the year the director died, and I've been told there was a lot of, it was a very chaotic period, it
Yeah.
might have been missed here. So I just wanted to have the security of getting this in place with
So you
that
said
document.
he, who was he?
I said he is
You said he had some,
The Deerfield.
oh,
Chris Dunn, the
Oh, okay.
town administrator.
okay.
Deerfield.
I wasn't sure when you said he.
Yeah,
You mean,
yeah.
So-
What?
I want to make sure I'm on the same page. Let's say that we had signed one and it's in some drawer somewhere we just don't know about. As long as we
This
re-sign
would-
this without
yes.
any material changes and have it end at the same time it would have ended before, if we were to find another one and all of a sudden had two contracts, that wouldn't be a problem, I assume, as long
No.
as they're materially the same and, okay. So on that end, I would be of the mind of not touching a thing on it and signing it as it is, because we wouldn't want to end up finding ourselves in a position with two contracts that contradict each other. But
Right.
if the Deerfield town administrator has concerns, I do think it would be important for us to discuss with them come 2027 when we need to do this, as a town cabal to figure out how we want to address that. Okay, just wanted to make sure I was on the same page legally in terms of like if John came to us tomorrow and said, hey, I found the copy of it,
Yeah,
what would that
no,
be?
that's why I've been just trying to preserve everything in place. I retyped this, I found nothing on the computer, so, we've gotten this.
Okay, beautiful. So yeah, I don't have any concerns with doing so. Any concerns, questions, anything from you?
should, wasn't the meeting is tomorrow?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the last thing on the
Okay,
agenda.
okay. There you go.
Alrighty. Wonderful. So, at the time, I would entertain a motion for us to sign the contract starting today, going to its normal expiration date in 2027.
Yes, June 30.
June 30th.
Motion to sign the contract for us to the end of June of 27?
27.
27.
Or 27.
Between Sunderland and Frontier Community Access Corporation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 3-0. Thank you very much. And I do appreciate you looking into it and finding that, because we could have just gone in a couple of years and this never happened. So I do appreciate you catching that. That was wonderful. And on that same general note, our next item is the FCAT hearing on 10/7/25, which is tomorrow.
Yes, it is. And it's going to take place here.
Mm-hmm.
The hearing will be here at 7. If any of you can attend to say good things about the learning experience for the whole community and how it benefits the select board because your messages get out and people can watch your meetings and comment and hear them, and or any other issue you might have. If they do they ever film the parade for Memorial Day? I think they have.
Yes.
They've done a lot of things.
Well, they're wonderful. They do a lot for
The training for the kids at school.
I
Yeah.
believe I have a commitment tomorrow, but it might be done in time for me to make it by the middle or end of the.
I've got South County EMS tomorrow.
So I will attempt to.
And I think you can zoom in.
Okay,
It starts
that's
at
good to know.
7, and I think you can zoom in.
Okay,
So that would be
that
great.
would be making it easier for me to look at.
And I know
Um,
they're trying to control things a little bit. If you know for sure you can do it, please let me know, just so.
And just for clarity, what was this hearing on? Just on the continued operation of FCAT in general, or is it just an opportunity
The negotiation of the Comcast contract. So we're trying to get, as much funding as we can get for them, especially with,
For
we
new
have a
cameras.
large amount of equipment needs. We've had cameras dying one by one, or it's maybe only now, but he's been struggling with all the cameras. Deerfield's trying to set up a new town hall with audio-visual equipment. So we're trying to do our best to show Comcast will be here. Eileen from Comcast will be here, and we'll want to try to impress her that our community really cares. The 4 towns do care. Conway is in the group, but they're off cycle from us in the negotiations. But they are a part of that too. So, and there will be an open house starting at 6. Jonathan is getting pizzas and cookies to show people the studio, and he's got it all cleaned up to walk people around and tell people about the program as much as possible.
Wonderful. And if we were to miss it because we have other obligations,
That's okay.
is there an opportunity for us to write a letter?
Yes,
for something like
yes.
that?
If you could write a letter, if you want to do a video.
So I will put together some thoughts in a letter, and if I can come in person and deliver it in person, wonderful. If not, I will make sure it gets along to
Excellent.
you or to Jonathan or whatever.
Yeah.
And I encourage anyone watching this who loves FCAT as much as we do to do the same if you're not able to attend.
Please, please.
And that hearing is here at 7. Okay, wonderful. Any other questions or comments on the hearing? Alrighty.
I have one other FCAT thing I want to mention. I think I mentioned it before, but part of what Jonathan has learned as he's reviewed his bylaws this year is the bylaws say there's supposed to be a select board member from each town on the FCAT board of trustees. Just to put a bee in your bonnet. You can also delegate someone to do that. You already have Steve Uncles on the board, so there is Sunderland representation.
How often do they meet?
Seems more every couple months. He tends to, when issues come up, that he'll call a meeting. It's not regularly scheduled, from what I've observed.
I would be willing to do that. I wouldn't hate it if we found somebody who would want to be a representative. So if we have somebody who's chomping at the bit to do so, who happens to reach out to you, great. If not, I'm willing to.
Excellent.
I just want to make sure it wasn't going to be a weekly commitment or something like
No,
that. I didn't
no.
think so particularly, but just checking. All right, thank you for reminding us of that. And no, I do agree that it is important to have a select board member on. All right, anything else on FCAT? All right, that's our new business. Old business. First up is select board updates. Crystal, do you have anything for us today?
I got South County EMS tomorrow. I imagine the discussion will be quite heavy on, found an opportunity to purchase an ambulance. The ambulance that was purchased, we're still waiting on. And this would get one into South County much sooner than when the actual delivery of the new one is expected. But it involves, using retained earnings, things like that, which you know, again, it will be a bigger discussion, I'm sure, tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll have some real information, you know, after that, and that's why, you know, if they are gonna pursue this, the ambulance will have to be part of the special town meeting, because you know, again, through past discussions and stuff, we've all been under the impression as towns that the more retained earnings there are, that comes off of our town's assessment. If we're gonna take and use that retained earnings for purchasing an ambulance, which might be the best decision, yeah, we have to understand what that does to
How much it really
assessments.
costs.
So I guess my question, and maybe this is something that you don't know, but maybe you can find out tomorrow, is what happens to the other ambulance then? Like, are we still gonna get?
We are still gonna get
So we end
that.
up with having 2 ambulances in a year or two whenever we finally get the.
Right,
the-
and then that would start getting us on that cycle of replacing ambulances before they are very old
Yeah.
and desperate need of replacement.
No, I'm not,
Yeah.
certainly not arguing that against it, it was more just so I know what's going on in my head money-wise. It's
Yeah.
one thing if it's, okay, well, it's gonna, you know, this next year's assessment's gonna be higher, but we also cancel this contract with this, or
Yeah,
sell
no,
sell the rights to this new
Yeah,
truck or
no.
something else.
That
That's
that
good
one
to know.
would still be coming.
Do we know how much longer on the current one?
I believe it's still like more than a year out.
Okay. And the one that we're looking at, is this a used one, or is this
No,
a new
it's a
one, but just
brand
a
It's
different?
the same,
Okay.
and it's brand new.
And Thomas, last question. Comparable price between the two?
This is actually, I
Less
believe,
expensive.
it's a little less expensive in the grand scheme of ambulances. You know, we're not talking $10 less, but, you know,
Yeah.
it's,
I'm just trying to make sure you know, this one's $500,000, we're paying $750,000 to get it faster, like, obviously we need it.
yeah,
we
no,
need it, I just
no.
wanna make sure that we're
The
doing
one
it.
that would be coming faster would actually be somewhat less than the one that's been ordered. But again, the one that was ordered was exact specifications, right? This one, again, I have not looked at the specs of it. We haven't, you know, we're meeting tomorrow, but, you know, there could be, you know,
It may not be a perfect fit,
more
but
of a
it's still.
stock- More of a stock
Yeah.
model, but there really aren't stock models in the ambulance.
correct.
Yeah.
There's not really.
So, what is the schedule that we're looking at in an ideal world for replacing ambulances over there? We haven't for a while. My understanding was when they came to us and asked us to do the ambulance, a big part of it was because this one's 20 years old, and this one's 17 years old,
Yeah.
and that one, or already parked in the back
And
and
I,
falling apart.
right,
You know?
and I think that's all gonna be part of the discussion is, what is this real cycle? You know, do we want every 5 years, you know what I mean?
And the only reason I ask is just because if we're gonna get one this year and then we're gonna get another one next year, that sets us up for a cycle that's not going to like naturally flow every 5 years or something like that. And again, I'm not saying that's a reason not to do it, I'm just trying to get
Right, and that's, you know, hopefully
But we
all
also
part of.
didn't get a new one 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, and so we're kind of due on those, so we do end up kind of having to front load a little bit right now to get us into a more modern fleet. I do understand. I understand. So, please ask lots of questions. I will ask
Oh,
you lots
yes.
of questions.
Oh, yes.
I'm curious.
There's lots of questions.
I do have one.
Please.
As well, complete streets. I scrambled a little bit, but I was able to renew and resubmit the prior application that we put in for complete streets. It was for the RFPs, there was some pathway at the school. The question that came up to me that I dug into a little bit, and I'll follow up with the folks over there, is whether or not Swampfield Drive is a public way or not. There was some indication it could be, but it wasn't on the Chapter 90 list of public streets. If it's not a public way, it wouldn't be eligible for any improvements under the Complete Streets program. It's something we'd have to go to Citrus to school. So,
Could
yeah.
we make it?
Well, that's,
It's not.
there's some question that, I'm going to talk to Wendy, and go to Wendy and find out if it is, because there was some indication, it looked like Franklin, the cog had referred to it as a public road. So, but I'm not sure that that's true, at least as far as the Chapter 90 folks are concerned, and they're the ones that allocate our funding based on the miles of road. it's not on that list now. But if we have, if the town ever voted on it and made it a public road, then it could get on that list and then it would definitely be eligible. So that's the only question that was outstanding for me. And the only answer is if it's not, maybe we could look at doing the piece of old Amherst down at Route 9.
Yeah.
They haven't had a study to look at it, but
Yeah.
that's, I put in some language like that. That was the only change, you know what I mean? But it's basically a resubmit of the old one.
And if you can figure out what it would take, if it's not a public road, what it would take to do that. Not saying necessarily that even that we want to, but just
Yeah.
to figure out what that process would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, and maybe we don't get the police commissioner done this year for whatever reason,
Yeah.
it might be worth looking into making it one.
Yeah.
So you're talking the driveway to the
The
school.
driveway to the school, yeah,
being a
Swampville
public
Drive.
road.
Yeah, and I don't know, I know this is an East Hampton head thing, but it's definitely something I think you can do. But this frontage requirements is different requirements that you need, you know, for the parcel itself.
It seems a little silly in semantics to me to be like,
I-
it's owned by the town.
I know,
It's
I
of course
know.
the public road.
Yeah,
like,
but
you know.
they live in it, they deal with the
Oh,
roads.
I understand the minutia. It's one of those things where it's kind of just like a little nitpicky. Just a little nitpicky. It's like it's not owned by a private entity. It's owned by the town one way or the other.
Yeah.
But yes, I understand what you're saying. So yeah, please look into what it would take to do that if we do find out.
Mhm.
Don't spend a bunch of time until we know for sure. But if we do find out that it is in fact not a public road, let's figure out what it would take to do that. And also ask the questions of what that means. Does that change anything for the town in terms of liability, in terms of responsibility, in terms of all kinds of things? Like, there might be an advantage to leaving it a non-public road. I want to know that before we make a decision on that. In fact, let's
Let's see if they have a
let's see what
vote.
let's see what we got going on.
Yep.
Great, thank you so much for doing that. I know that we have largely left that to you to do. And I appreciate you
Yeah,
getting to that.
It's a scramble, but I get that.
No, I really appreciate you getting to that. That was
I'd love to see a copy.
Yeah, I will. I'll forward it along. It's all online, so it's not like you
Cool.
don't get the
If you could-
PDF. It's all
Yeah,
online.
you're
It's
going
available.
to okay.
It's basically they have what they call Grant Central, so it's everything in one place.
well, it's great news. Thank you so much again for doing so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else, Dan? Crystal, anything else for you? I don't have anything new myself. Becky, kind of for updates.
The new assessor is doing quite well. The assistant assessor, he's working, and he held a meeting tonight with his board of assessors, and he's figuring out a number of things. I think we will do another training with Diane Bishop, if you guys are all okay with that too. I think it'd be important for him to have a session with her, just to help him pull all these things together that he's figuring out.
And do we have the ability to pay for that? Like, is
Yes,
that-
the assessors, I think, have voted to pay for it out of their own funds.
Okay, great.
So that, and I think they're gonna write the select board a letter
Okay,
about it, which would be great.
wonderful. Glad to hear things going well with them. That's lovely news. It's good to have that position filled again, so.
Yes.
over there.
And people are very happy with the hours that he selected. Some people actually come in and, in that Monday late afternoon, 6 days till 6 on Mondays.
Mhm.
And so he's driving traffic and things are good.
Wonderful. That is excellent news. Any questions on that from the board? Anything else? All right. I believe that is all of our old business. There's no public comment. Nobody's in person or online, since the online is not really working very well anyways. All right. No executive session at this time. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion we adjourn.
Second?
All right. We have a motion made, seconded to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
3-0, 7:23 p.m. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.